This is one creepy highway. Major accidents have been happening here for months on end, so the traffic police put up warning signs and dispatched 2 officers to keep watch. But right at the stroke of midnight, the lights along the road started flickering non-stop. John had already dozed off in his chair, and Jack, bored out of his mind, decided to play a prank on him. Just then, Jack spotted someone wandering on the road through a crack in the wooden boards. But when he got up to take a closer look, the road was completely empty. Suddenly, the speed camera behind them began snapping photos automatically. Jack hurriedly woke John up and told him about the eerie scene that had just unfolded. But John brushed it off, saying it was probably just a machine malfunction and there was no need to make a big fuss about it. Late into the night, the 2 officers were feeling cold and hungry, so they cooked up a bowl of noodles. Just as John was about to dig in, the speed camera suddenly flashed. John promptly got up to check on the device. Right at that instant, an old woman materialized out of thin air in front of them. John was startled, but he quickly regained his composure and stepped forward to support the elderly lady. He asked her with concern why she was wandering the streets so late at night while noticing that her body was as cold as ice. As John was walking the old woman over to the speed camera, a car suddenly came speeding from a distance. John pushed the old woman aside in one swift motion, and the speed camera successfully captured the speeding vehicle. They finally had something to show for the night. At that moment, Jack suddenly asked where the old lady he had just been supporting had gone. It was only then that John realized the old woman he had pushed aside had vanished without a trace. The 2 officers frantically searched everywhere with their flashlights, but there was no sign of the elderly lady anywhere. All they found was a thermos lying on the ground. The next day, the 2 officers returned to the station with the photos, only to discover that there was no speeding car captured in the images. Instead, there was an eerie silhouette. Believing that capturing something unclean out of the blue was a bad omen, they requested to be reassigned to other duties. However, their superior denied their request. Left with no choice, the 2 officers had to return to the highway and continue their night watch. As soon as midnight struck, strange noises suddenly emanated from the quiet road. The 2 officers steeled themselves and turned around, only to see the old woman from the previous night hammering away at a voodoo doll. The shocked officers stared in disbelief, while the deactivated speed camera suddenly started snapping photos like crazy. The 2 terrified traffic cops took off running, and the old woman vanished into the darkness.